That's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Welcome to the Bottom Line Cast. This is episode 3, Austin 316, June 1996. I'm Mike Pru, along with JV. We're back at it again. JV, how you doing this week?
Doing well. Looking forward to episode 3 here. We're getting into the juicy, good stuff.
Yeah, starting to get into some of that good stuff. Okay,
Away
first
from the
couple of weeks,
Ringmaster.
we're building up to the Ringmaster, then moving on to Savio Vega, and now Austin 316 is going to be born. Exciting times going on here today. All right, so last week we had the Vega saga. Was there anything left that you wanted to cover with that? Anything that you looked back at or
No.
thought about?
No, I didn't really have any further thoughts after episode 2 about Savio Vega. I know he is going to come up briefly, if I'm not mistaken, on this episode. So
Yeah, he's sticking around.
hanging around like a snot. He won't go away.
Yeah, that saga continues. We're just not going to cover it much anymore. But we're focusing on the King of the Ring this week, so just to set our agenda a little bit, we're going to go through the King of the Ring, a little history perspective of the King of the Ring. Then we're going to get into the build-up to the 1996 King of the Ring and talk about some of his preliminary matches leading up to the Ultimate matches at the pay-per-view. And finally, his winning and then going out on that stage and making that Austin 316 promo. All right, so that's a little just brief agenda set for you. So let's get right into it with the King of the Ring. All right, so the King of the Ring, when it first started out, wasn't a pay-per-view. Yeah, there are numerous King of the Rings previously. And there were most oftentimes, actually all of them, were in the area of the Northeast, where we're from. They were in Providence, Boston, they were in Foxborough. So we're just going to go through and talk about some of the previous winners prior to Steve Austin here in 1996. I'm going to bring up my old trusty Wikipedia. Take a look at some of these winners.
Who says that's not credible source?
Yeah. Maybe
Everybody
someone will
uses
go in and
it.
edit it
Yeah.
and change it.
It does
Oh,
happen.
these look like viable names, so I'm going with it. Right, the first two King of the Rings were in Foxborough, Massachusetts, at the old Sullivan Stadium, where the Patriots sucked big time.
That they did.
Yeah. Did you ever go to Sullivan Stadium?
No.
No, I never got to go either. I was too young at the time. Back in 85, 86.
No, I was 2 years
Well,
old.
Yeah.
No
3
way.
years old. 3, 4 years old.
Definitely was not there.
So anyways, the first two King of the Rings kick off in Foxborough, Massachusetts. And this was really just like an oversized, overhyped house show. Just something special for the area, for the region. For Foxborough, for then Providence. So just this northeastern part of the country would get this special show, King of the Ring. It would always be in June or July, around that time, sometime in the summer. And it started off with Don Morocco. Don Morocco would go and make it through and defeat the Iron Sheik. Don Morocco must have been a babyface at the time. I usually just remember him as a heel.
Same here.
Mr. Fuji.
Yeah.
Well, I guess back in 85, he was babyface and he won the first King of the Ring. And then the following year, you have Harley Race wins. He defeats Pedro Morales. And Harley Race actually takes on that gimmick of the King.
The King, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So he's probably the first King of... Yeah, he is, obviously. Because there wasn't King Morocco.
Nah.
But you have King Harley Race. And then the following year, you have Randy Savage. Randy Savage wins. And he does go on later to become the king.
Yeah.
The Macho King.
He was the king. The
Oh,
Macho
yeah.
King was the best king.
But that wasn't until 1990 when he was the Macho King.
Was it?
Yeah, so this is 3 years after he
You're a
actually wins the
collector.
King
Do you
of the
have
Ring.
the Macho King action figure? I used to
I
have it
used
as
to
a
have
kid
it.
with the
I
crown
don't
and the
have it
scepter.
anymore. Yeah, it used to come with the crown. A little rubber crown.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to it, but it's gone. I don't have it anymore. I'll try to get it again one day.
No, it's on the list. You just made
I
the
love-
list, Macho King.
I love this action though. Just to spin the hips and then do the clothesline.
Yeah.
Got the arm sticking out.
It's the hardest plastic on the planet they were made out of.
Oh yeah. Yep. His fist was hard
Yeah,
too.
they're like weapons in
Anyway.
some states.
Yeah. So Randy Savage wins the third King of the Ring, and he defeats King Kong Bundy. And then the rest of these are in Providence, I think. Starting in '87, they're in Providence Civic Center. So from '87 through '91, they're happening at the Providence Civic Center. So you have, like I said, Savage, and then you had Ted DiBiase. But Randy Savage was in the final, so this is the first time that you have the champion, or the king, defending the crown the following year, and he loses it to DiBiase, which was 1988. So that's right around the time where DiBiase was getting his big push in the WWF. Because earlier in that year was WrestleMania 4, and he made it all the way to the finals of that tournament, the World Championship tournament. You remember that, JV?
Yeah.
WrestleMania 4?
Yep.
And it was Randy Savage against Ted DiBiase in that final. So just months later, they did the same thing in the King of the Ring tournament. Very creative. 89, this one, never knew that Tito Santana won. He has one against Rick Martel,
Wow.
where they were just coming off of being a tag team the year before that. Okay, so this is 1989. Tito Santana and Rick Martel were the tag team, and they were champs, actually. It was Strike Force. And they lost the titles to Demolition earlier. Actually, a year earlier at WrestleMania. And then there's a year off. No King of the Ring in 1990. And then you have 1991, Bret Hart wins. And he beats IRS. Erwin R. Shyster. And then you get into the pay-per-view era of King of the Ring. So Bret Hart is the inaugural King of the Ring in the eyes to many fans because it was the first to be on pay-per-view. And they changed the area. They don't go to the Northeast for the first King of the Ring. They go to Dayton, Ohio. You know, you think they have this long tradition of King of the Ring in the Northeast, in Rhode Island or Massachusetts, and then just, we're in Ohio. Let's just do it in Ohio now. So Bret Hart does back-to-back King of the Rings. He's the only person to ever do that, be consecutive King of the Ring. And then the following year, in 1994, his brother wins.
Owen
Hart, yep. Owen Hart defeats Razor Ramon. Then 1995, man, I won't remember this one vividly, and I was so disappointed as a 12-year-old. Mabel.
King Mabel.
Mabel. Who had just turned on his partner Mo a couple months before.
What was their tag team? Was it like Men on a Mission? Yeah,
Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take the Jordan's furniture ride.
Yeah. Is that just a New England thing? Yeah. It's got to be, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought Jordan's furniture was pretty big. I don't know.
So Mabel defeats Savio Vega. I don't even remember Savio Vega being in there. I guess I watched it that one time and never again. 1995 really was a shitty year for WWF. And then that brings us to 1996, where things start to get a little better with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, you want to go beyond this? Talk about the other ones, or we're good?
I think we're good.
What do you think?
I think we're good.
Yeah, you don't need to hear about Billy Gunn and
Yeah.
Sheamus. And
If you'd like, you could go to a real credible source like Wikipedia, and you
you can look it up.
Find out the rest.
Yeah, you can tell it. Anyway, though, after this point, after a few years goes by, it becomes very sporadic when these King of the Rings are.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, all right, let's do a King of the Ring. We're done with that now.
Yeah, it was like a 5-year break at one point, I believe. Yeah.
And it's been 3 years since that last one.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a little recap of King of the Ring. Hunter Hearst Helmsley. He does win in 1997, the following year, but it's lore that he was supposed to win in 1996, and Steve Austin took the spot because of the curtain call. May 19th, 1996, there's a curtain call at Madison Square Garden where the Clique, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Diesel, Razor, as a send-off to Diesel and Razor, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, they all break kayfabe and hug each other in the ring after just having a match with each other. So basically, the story goes that Triple H is the only one that could get punished for it because Razor and Diesel are leaving, so he can't do anything to them. Shawn Michaels was the golden goose.
Yeah,
he's the top guy.
He's untouchable.
So, right, so they're not going to do anything to him. So just screw Triple H a little bit. So he takes punishment, and probably this is one of the things that helped him long term in the company. Is the fact that he dealt with the punishment and just moved on.
Yeah, took his lickings and kept on kicking.
Yeah, that's right. So his punishment is, it's funny, because he loses to Jake the Snake in the first round. Triple H was pretty hot at that point. He's in the first round.
That's bad.
He loses. So he knew there was a punishment going on there.
Snake.
All right, so that's, like I said, a little recap of King of the Ring history. Now we'll move on to preliminary matches that lead up to this King of the Ring 1996. We're not going to go through everything. We're just going to go through Austin perspective, of course, because this is the bottom line cast and not for anybody else. All right, so we have the first round match from Raw 162, and it airs on June 3rd, 1996. The match actually takes place on May 27th, which is the day after the debacle of the In Your House, Beware of Dog when the power went out. And the night before, Beware of Dog Part 2. So this is happening on that taping of Raw. You have Steve Austin defeating Bob Holly. JV, you watched this match recently?
Yep, I did.
Right, what'd you? Any thoughts on it?
Some of the, just to touch on commentary quick, it was funny to me how Bob Holly was referred to as a two-sport athlete because he was a professional wrestler and he's also a stud race car driver too. And so there's just some good commentary there. I think it's Vince and I think Gorilla on that match. Is it? No.
Yeah.
Is it?
No, not Gorilla. Not Gorilla.
Is it?
I don't think Gorilla,
No, it wasn't. It was Lawler, or it had to be Lawler or
Laura,
or Jim
Lawler
Ross.
and Vince. Yeah. Shit, I don't remember.
Yeah, it doesn't
Anyway.
matter. But other thing was like how great a shape how great of shape he was in.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up. You had told me earlier before we started recording.
Yeah.
About his physique.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was jacked.
Yeah, and
Let's forget that he was.
Yeah, as a kid, I just kind of thought like, I guess I didn't appreciate the time and effort he put into, his craft at the time as a kid. Because I just pictured him like a Bobby Eaton body or something because of his hair or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, he got the mullet going.
Yeah.
He's living in the 80s.
That haircut was past expiration.
Yeah. No, I also think, because he stands out a lot more when he becomes Hardcore Holly and he's all jacked to the gills.
Yeah.
So you don't appreciate that he was in damn good shape at the time before that. But anyways, Vince was on commentary, though, because I remember something that he said that stood out. That's funny now, and was just a slip at the time. Vince McMahon said, all the first-round matches and quarter-round matches are going to be right here on Raw and the WWF Network.
Damn.
WWF Network. He meant to say the USA Network.
Yeah.
The WWF Network. So there's been stories that he had this idea of a WWF Network years ago. And not like what it is today, obviously, streaming. He had no idea about that.
Obviously,
Internet was in its infancy at that point. But, having their own channel, WWF Network, which they kind of did have before the streaming. Do you remember on cable you can get the on-demand? Yeah, it was called WWF 24/7.
No, I don't remember that.
No, you don't remember that?
No.
Yeah, it was early 2000s, like 2005. I think that's when that started. And they had just different matches available every month, or a couple pay-per-views available, a couple old ones, a couple documentaries, and we were just limited to what they put out there each month.
Yeah.
Which I paid $10 a month for, I think, at the time, because that's the best that was available.
Yeah.
And then when this concept of WWE Network the way it is today, I was like, oh my god, unbelievable in comparison, how cheap it is.
Yeah, it's really good. It was, a game breaker.
Yeah. And there's a boom in the podcast industry because of it. Because shows like ours wouldn't exist if there was no network, because we wouldn't be able to do all this research.
Yeah, to do a lot more YouTubing.
Yeah. All right, so he gets the win from Bob Holly using the $1 Million Dream, who at this point, he's not even with Ted DiBiase anymore.
No.
No.
Did you notice how the fans
not?
popped?
Yeah,
for the
that's right.
million-
Say it again?
Did you catch how the fans popped for the $1 Million Dream? Like when he was
Oh,
applying
no.
it? Yeah, the crowd
Oh.
was kind of pumped. You can see some guys in the front row standing up and stuff. Like there was a reaction to him using it. I was like, look at that.
All right, so his next match in the tournament comes 2 weeks later on Raw. On Raw 164. And this is going to be on June 17th, 1996. And this is another Savio Vega match. All right, so if you wanted to check out another Savio Vega match, it's available on Raw 164. It's the first match, so just put it right on. And it's about 8 minutes long. There's nothing really special about this match. And keep in mind, this is recorded or taped rather, on May 27th. So this is the night before they had the Caribbean strap match. So basically, they're just trying to save their energy for the next night, the beating that they're about to take. And plus, the audience didn't even know that this was a semifinal match when it was being taped, because Savio hadn't even had his first round match yet. So people in the audience were kind of just left in the dark about what kind of match this was and what the point of this match was. And then when
That's the 90s.
Yeah, and then when they produced it, they add on all the commentary and say it's a semifinal match. Right, notable thing about this match is that he uses a stunner for the first time.
Yep.
Stone Cold Stunner. For the first time. It's not the first time it'll be seen on TV by audiences, but it's the first time that it'll be used chronologically. It's the first time it's used. So the on-screen debut will come later. The on-screen debut is going to be on Superstars, which airs on June 8th, 1996, and that was taped the following day. The day that Beware of Dog was recorded is when he's going to use the TV debut of the Stunner, and he uses it against Jason Arndt, who goes on to become Joey Abs, the Mean Street Posse.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So,
Did you notice I guess that's to my point from the first match, like how fans, I noticed the crowd kind of popped for when he used the $1 Million Dream against Bob Holly. Against Savio Vega, when he uses the Stunner, because no one had seen it before, no one really reacts. Like, they don't even know how to react. If you look at the crowd, they're just like, huh? Like,
right, because they're trained to...
Yeah.
To know when his finish is coming, they know, it's a $1 Million Dream. All right, he's about to win.
It's just
a
a reaction.
Something like this, it's like, huh? Okay, it's over now?
It's a reaction you don't see often, and even kind of, I was like, look at, I guess that's how I'd react, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really see guys change their finisher often nowadays.
No.
Or even back then. I mean, that's kind of who you are at that point.
But I guess it does make sense, because you don't have the $1 Million Man anymore, but you're still going to use the $1 Million Dream. They got to get rid of it.
Which looked awkward every time he did it. Even the way he set it up, it was just kind of...
Yeah.
All the ringmaster stuff we've been watching is just like, man, that just never looked right for...
for him.
Yeah, it just didn't work.
And so with DiBiase gone, there's no way that they're going to even reference $1 Million Dream anymore, because it's related to him.
Yep.
And he's on the other show now. He's on Nitro. Well, he's going to be eventually. So they just cut ties with that. So one thing about the Stone Cold Stunner that I want to bring up is the story about how it came to be. I know in the past couple episodes, we've referred to how we may have learned about it or gotten the idea for it in ECW with Mikey Whippersnapper. And like I had said in one of my little conspiracies is, he got the beer drinking from Sandman, he got the stunner from Mikey Whipwreck in ECW, but WWF will never admit that, or WWE would never admit that. because they just don't want to give props to the ECW. And there's the story that Michael Hayes is the one that introduced him to the stunner. And it's probably true. I'm just being crazy. But the story goes, Michael Hayes told him to try out the stunner that day, the day of this recording, on May 28th. And I guess he practiced it on about 6 different guys. And then he used it that night for the first time. It's also the move of John Laurinaitis. It was called the Ace Crusher. Also like the Diamond Cutter, of course, that was already being used at that point. Yep. But he's going to make it something totally awesome, especially when he starts to kick people in the guts and peg them off and then give them the stunner. But at this point, it's kind of awkward, too, because he doesn't do the kick in the gut before the move. He just goes up to him and grabs him and then just gives him the... drops him.
Yeah, there's a little, it's not much, but there's a little bit more finesse to it right now than, how it ends up being with the kick and everything.
Yeah, so that's going to evolve too. Right? So that's one of the major breakthroughs in his character is this development, but it's still in an early stage. It's not quite what it becomes. The name Stone Cold Stunner is given credit to JR, Jim Ross. It's believed that he came up with the phrase, and he's the first one to call it during the match. Say that's a Stone Cold Stunner. All right, so we're just mentioning how Ted DiBiase was heading out at that point, and he broke ties with him. He changed his move, got rid of the $1 Million Dream. So I kind of want to just mention that and make it a point for Steve Austin to say, I didn't need Ted DiBiase, which we all know. We already knew that. We talked about that in episode 1, that why the heck's he with Ted DiBiase? So it's pretty good that he does point that out, that I didn't need Ted DiBiase. And there's a clip that we're going to play where Austin's going to talk about how he's happy to be rid of Ted DiBiase. So let's play that clip now.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, Ted DiBiase being gone takes out all the distractions anyway. You see, I never trusted anyone, and I never needed anyone my whole career. It's on to bigger and better things after King of the Ring, after I win it all. Because there's no way anyone in the World Wrestling Federation can stop Stone Cold Steve Austin.
All right. Okay, this now brings us to the King of the Ring pay-per-view on June 23rd, 1996. Okay, before we get into that, I just want to run through some of the matches that Steve Austin had leading up to the King of the Ring. Okay, house shows. Okay, so we talked about his couple of matches that he had. Had a match with Bob Holly and Savio Vega. That was recorded on May 27th for Raw tapings. Those are his 2 King of the Ring preliminary matches, first round and the quarterfinal matches. And then the following day, he does that Beware of Dog match again. And then he has a taping where he does the stunner for the first time against Jason Arndt and Savio Vega that day. And then he has a house show on May 29th. He loses to Savio Vega, and he's going to lose to Savio Vega for the next 4 nights, May 30th, May 31st, June 1st. And then the following week, June 6th, June 7th, June 8th, he loses to Jake Roberts. June 9th, JV's birthday, he pins Jake Roberts.
Nice.
Stone Cold gets
nice.
a win.
That's what I want to have. Thank you for that 12th birthday present.
Yeah. June 13th, he pins Duke the Dumpster Drosy.
Oh, jeez. The garbage man.
And he's using the stunner at that point because it was now on TV, so audiences were aware of it at that point. So he starts to use it at house shows. June 14th, again against Duke Drosy. 16th, Drosy. 15th and 16th, Drosy. And then finally, June 22nd, he loses to Savio Vega. And then the next night is King of the Ring. There we are. So he has a lot of matches against Vega, Roberts, Duke the Dumpster Drosy throughout that month. And he loses many of them.
Yeah, he took the L in a lot of those.
Yeah. All right, so like I said, brings us to King of the Ring. He's going to have his first match against Marc Mero. Okay, this is the first match on the pay-per-view. So if you want to watch this and make your own opinion, take a look at what we're talking about. Starts right at the beginning. And Jim Ross and Vince McMahon are on commentary, and Owen Hart is on commentary also for this King of the Ring.
Best part of the match.
Yeah. One of the first things he says
And it was
about
a good
Sable,
match. Yeah.
It was a good match. One of the first things he says about Sable, though, is he calls her a hose bag. Which goes out. And just thinking how how the world is today, what you could get away with saying.
Yeah.
Totally different 22 years ago.
All over Twitter. It'd just be blown up today.
Yeah. All right, so JV, what are your thoughts? You just said it was a good match, but what else can you add to it?
Well, I guess since we're on the point of Owen Hart, they're kind of recapping a match Stone Cold. No, Owen Hart had with I think it was Savio Vega,
Oh yeah, that's right.
or it might have been Marc Mero, because that would make more sense here. But I forget who it was exactly. But he's speaking through the point of how he slipped off the apron trying to shake. It was Marc Mero. He was trying to shake Marc Mero's hand. I guess in like the build up match before Mero, the match before that where Mero beat Owen Hart, and he slipped off the apron, but he cracked him with the cast on his arm. I thought that was pretty
Yes.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
I mean, it wasn't part of the match, but it's all part of the production. I thought it was just spoke to Owen Hart and kind of brought him in on commentary, fit him in like how he fits in this puzzle between the two wrestlers in the ring, and we know that Owen Hart ends up going down the road to having a good feud with Stone Cold. So it's like the start of something there,
Yeah. No, next year when we get to that, SummerSlam puts Austin out for
Oh yeah,
quite a while.
yeah.
Yeah. So they do have a big feud, like a personal feud, a real life feud, really.
Yeah.
Because of it, which we'll get into.
I
down
like
the
how
road.
they use the exposed concrete.
Yes. I always love that.
Yeah. You don't see that really too often now with the old gym mats on the floor.
No.
It's fun.
Another thing that doesn't really have to do with the in-ring action, even though it was good action, but there are other things that I noticed, like in the front row. There's, I believe. Here we go, conspiracy Mike again. The Miz.
Get your tinfoil hats, listeners. We're going to the
Mike
Twilight Zone.
Mizanin, a young Mike Mizanin, the Miz, is in the front row. If you don't believe me, go to WWE Network and go to 23 minutes, 26 seconds. Make an opinion for yourself. Okay, the show is in Milwaukee, and he's from Ohio. He's from the Cleveland area. So it's not that far for him to go, with his parents, go to see a show, to go see wrestling. And he's a big wrestling fan his whole life, so it's not far out there. I've tweeted at him. Haven't said anything.
He's like, get out of here, psycho. Quit looking for 12-year-old me.
I tweeted at Bruce Pritchard, and he tweeted back and said, I have no idea. So anyways, take a look for yourself. Looks like him.
Yeah.
Hey, who knows? Whatever.
I gotta point out in the crowd, I noticed too, if when you go back and rewatch this match, there's a guy, he's in like the halfway up, like the middle rows, but he's on TV. And he's got a bootleg, it looks like bootleg, it might have just been 90s style, but it looks like the bootleg 1990s Brett Favre jerseys. And he's got one on, and it just sticks out the whole match.
Yep, they're in the right area for it.
Yeah, like just little
Wisconsin.
things like that. When we go back and watch this stuff, I find myself like crowd watching, and it's just it's good stuff.
So I guess the main thing that we take away from this match is that Austin gets his chin busted.
Yeah,
When Mero, I don't even know what you'd call the move. It's kind of like he tries to hook the arms and flip his opponent over. So he does this kick, and it ends up kicking Austin in the chin. And then he has to get 16 stitches for it. They'll say that he goes to the ER, but it's not true, according to things that I've read. And that it was actually just taken care of backstage. But still, 16 stitches regardless. And he still had another match to go through. So he wins this match. Okay, it's a quality match. I'd put it at... Well, before I even tell you what I would put it at, last week I intended to give skull rating. And then we ended up talking about something else and totally forgot to rate the match. The Caribbean Strap match. So, last week's Savio Vega Caribbean Strap match, 4 skulls. This match right here, 3 skulls for me. We're going with skulls because Stone Cold, obviously.
Yeah, it works. It makes sense.
What would you say, JV? What do you rate this out of 5? 5 being the best.
I'd say the strap match last week, I'd give it 4 stars. 4 skulls. Crap. 4 skulls. And then
Stick with the gimmick.
damn it, you're fired. This Mero match, I'd say 3 skulls.
Yeah. We're right on page with each other.
I mean, it was a good match. There was a lot of spots. There was a Hurricane Rana off the top rope.
Oh yeah.
I think that was after he took the shot to the chin too. So he took, and then there was a very vicious Irish whip into the turnbuckle by Stone Cold to Marc Mero. I'm not sure if you caught that, but it was vicious.
Yeah.
Mero. Well, it was just Mero as a ring worker. He was really good.
Yeah.
Like he was very athletic. Like I forget now. It's so long ago. You lose sight of these things. So when we go back and watch it, it just amazed me how some guys I thought were good actually weren't, or weren't that good, and then guys that were I thought just average. I'm like, wow. Like now I know why they were putting him in the finals of the King of the Ring tournament not the finals but semifinals of the King of the Ring tournament because he was good.
Yeah, it's like last week with Savio Vega.
Yeah.
You go back and look. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
That was pretty damn solid.
But I didn't realize that at that age. It's funny.
Right. Now, we can't fail to bring up the fact that Marc Mero previously was somebody else. His time before coming to the WWF. Mr. Johnny B. Bad.
Yep.
He looks just like Little Richie.
Little Richie. Like Little Richie and like James Brown smashed together or something.
Yeah.
I was confused as a kid. I didn't know. I'm like, is this him? Are they the same guy? Like
Is the song Johnny B. Bad?
I was
or is it
12.
Johnny B. Good?
I was 12. Yeah. Give me a break. I was 12 years old.
Oh, man. Anyways, I just wanted to bring that up.
And most importantly, there was Sable involved.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which is great. And they, if you just look at the shots they take throughout the whole match, they're selling. That's one thing WWE was great at during that time. They just sold sex like crazy.
Oh, yeah. This is the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Sunny had just been in for a little while.
Yep.
And they covered her up early on with the workout gear for the Body Donnas.
Well, yeah. But they didn't really. They kind of let Sable do her thing.
Yeah. With the black leather.
And she was over, and she was active. Like she was involved the whole match. Like she's out cheering. She's not just like walking around. Like she was a really active valet.
Yeah.
So.
Just pounded on the
manager.
mat.
I don't know exactly how they refer to. I would imagine a valet. So, but the crowd was they had a Sable chant going at one point during the match. So.
Yep. There's 2 reasons why.
Yeah.
All right, so good match. Move on now to the King of the Ring final. In the meantime, Jake the Snake Roberts beats Vader to make it to the final matchup with Steve Austin. And one thing that I thought was really cool. Actually, let me give you a timestamp first. Timestamp is 1 hour, 54 minutes, 19 seconds. This only goes 4 minutes. So I'm sure you've all seen it before, but go back and see it again because something great is coming right after this match. All right, so back to what I was saying. I liked when he was heading down to the ring, he passes Brian Pillman.
Yes.
And Brian Pillman, newly in the WWF at that time, and we know from going back to episode 1, their history, that they were the Hollywood Blondes and good friends. And you see them crossing paths, like, oh, what are they going to do with these two? Are they going to be together? Mm-hmm. Are they going to feud with each other? Something's up. You can't let that slip. So, Dave, before we started recording, you were telling me some of the things that you picked up from Pillman's interview that was right before this.
Yeah. So his interview prior was pretty vicious. He uses he says, calls someone, I forget who, he was a stupid son of a bitch, which we obviously know ends up being a big Stone Cold thing throughout his career. But it's funny, before, as we know, what happens after the Jake the Snake match, before we get the Stone Cold Austin 316, Pillman was using stupid son of a bitch. So He makes a
son of a bitch.
Yeah, he makes a Jeffrey Dahmer reference. It's just it's a very crazy interview. He also says he's going to rape, pillage, and plunder the entire Federation. just very hardcore stuff. And he refers to himself as Brian effing Pillman. Yeah.
Well, it's like Owen Hart saying Sable's a hose bag early on.
Yeah.
Another thing that you couldn't say today. Rape and pillage.
Yeah. Rape.
Talking about serial killers.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer. Crazy.
All right, so we had this match with Jake Roberts, who has come back at this point from a hiatus of, 4 years, I would say. I think he left in 1992. He's back here in 96, 4 years later. And I think Jake the Snake probably went through like a time warp and aged like 20 years from 92 to 96 because he looks damn old.
Yeah, well, he was battling his demons, so he was kind of getting that all together.
Really battling.
But it goes to show you, if you, that's this kind of stuff that can happen to you sometimes if you get caught up in the wrong stuff,
Right. So he's 41 years old at this point, and you'd think he's 51 years old.
Yeah.
The way that he looks. Yeah, I'm thinking about how old I am, and I'm like, geez, that's only 6 years. I hope I don't have some battles with demons over the next 6 years and end up like that.
They aged
by 41. So anyways, I just want to point out that and give you a little idea of the age differential. You have Jake who's 41 and you have Austin who's 31 at the time.
Yep.
Jake just had a rough match with Vader. And it was probably kayfabe. His ribs are all bruised and bandaged up.
Broken, I think is how they actually
right? They say broken.
referred to, yeah.
Yeah. So probably not really, but that's just part of the story is that Jake's still out there and he's gonna fight hard to be the king of the ring.
And that was his whole thing at the time. He was a fighter, you know what I mean? Like he battled his demons, came back, he was, ready to be a superstar again. It's just, he put a lot of hard work in just getting back to that point to be in the ring, and then WWE, just WWF at the time, just went all in on that and had him become a true underdog.
Yep.
But he gets a Rocky 1 moment, not Rocky 2. Not even a Rocky 1 way. He gets totally squashed here.
Yeah, it is a squash match. That's all it is. It's not competitive at all.
No.
So the thing is that Austin is actually really injured. Jake is probably not injured. So it's like they switch roles. Austin's the one that just got 16 stitches, and Jake's pretending to be injured. And they took it very easy in the match because they were both. Jake's old for his lifestyle. He was old, 41, and Austin's injured, so they're just gonna take it easy and just get through the match. So very horrible match. Okay, skulls, broken skull, one broken skull. That's what I'd give it.
Yeah, can I give it half a broken skull?
Yeah, half the skull. That's it.
Yeah, half a skull. But I mean, the crowd tried to get behind Jake, and then it's almost like immediately they realize, like, yeah, this isn't going anywhere. The guys, Austin's taking off the ace bandages and just like kicking his ribs in, like his ribs are already broken. Monsoon comes in to try and make sure Jake can still go. Obviously, Jake doesn't want to, don't ring the bell,
Right.
So
I like that too. When Owen's on commentary and Gorilla comes in, Owen is a great heel announcer. Is like,
yeah,
Gorilla
he's damn
Monsoon's
good.
just in there. Gorilla Monsoon's just in there to help Jake catch his breath.
Yeah.
Which is a classic, solid line, classic line for a heel.
Hey, Owen Hart was a natural on commentary. Yeah. He was wow.
He was excellent on that show. He carried that show.
He was amazing. He was so good. But I was just kind of, I decided, I'm like, all right, I know, when I first watched, obviously I remember Jake the Snake gets squashed. So like, when I'm rewatching this, I want to keep track of how much offense does he really get in. And he actually gets 2 kicks and a punch in while he's defensive in a corner. And then he gets a parry of punches in after the Monsoon distraction. So after Monsoon came in, did his thing, then he got a little parry of punches, and then it was just like shit hit the fan. It was over after that. So that's when Stone Cold started like exposing his bruised ribs and just like really kicking him in.
Into him.
Yeah.
Then he just finishes him off with the stunner.
Yeah.
And so that's a horrible finish, but luckily, well, fortunately for the audience, they're going to be treated to history being made in this coronation.
And before we get into the coronation,
Yep.
do you remember who Jake the Snake beat to get there?
To get to the match?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vader, right?
Yeah, who do you remember the other two?
Well, it was Triple H. Well, Hunter Hearst Helmsley was one.
Yep.
Justin Hawk Bradshaw.
Yeah.
JBL.
Yeah, much more quality opponents for Jake
That's true.
in
yeah.
WWE lore.
Yeah, Jake had to go through a big, we call it a gambit.
Yeah. A gauntlet.
A gauntlet. Yeah. A gambit. I think that's the same thing. Whatever. All right, so this brings us to the coronation. Timestamp, 2 hours, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. If you're watching the match, it's directly right after it. So just keep rolling at that point. Steve Austin is going up to the coronation stage. And then you look there on the stage and you have that shitty-ass crown and the gown and the scepter. And you're just thinking, he's not going to put any of that on.
No way. I thought the same thing when I was watching it. Like, imagine if he put the crown and we had the scepter and he gave the promo. Oh, man.
I wonder if they expected him to. And then he was just like, "You fucking kidding me?"
You know, it's funny how there's the two.
Kill my character.
There's like the two court jesters. There's just the whole production piece of King of the Ring is kind of funny because it was so old school. It was a much simpler production back then. So it's like two guys that open the doors and then the superstars come through and they're dressed up as like court jesters.
You know, actually, a little trivia. Do you know who those two court jesters are?
No.
It's Matt and Jeff Hardy.
Come on. No shit.
Yeah, Matt and Jeff Hardy opened the doors for everybody to come out.
No kidding.
Ring.
I didn't catch that. I wasn't really paying attention to just who they are, but damn. Now I'm gonna have to go back and look.
Yep. Little factoid, little trivia.
Yeah.
And so he's on the stage now. Blows off that whole costume gimmick. He's not wearing that. Like I said, it would kill his character if Stone Cold is going to put on that goofy-ass crown. So, I don't think he gives it 2 looks. He just walks by it. And he gets interviewed by Doc Hendricks, who's Michael Hayes. Michael P.S. Hayes, Fabulous Freebird. And he gets told earlier on, Austin gets told earlier on that Jake cut a religious promo. And that really set off Austin's brain, his mind going, with what he wanted to say after the match. So if it wasn't for Jake's promo, then we would never have gotten Austin 316. So let's take a look at Jake's promo before.
You know, I was blind, but now I see. I was deaf, and now I can hear. You know, my soul was purchased by the blood of the Lamb, brother. So how can I lose if I just go out there and know the power above is reaching down and lifting me up? Yes, 450 pounds is nothing you want to play with, and I don't plan on playing. But I'll tell you something. If I was going to rob a bank, I wouldn't walk in the front door. I'd sneak up from behind. It's time to get serious. If I can get by Vader, I know I got Stone Cold. Lord help me. I'm going to do it.
All right, so during the promo, we're about to play Austin's coronation speech just a minute, but I just want to point out a couple of things about it, is that it had to be non-scripted. It's almost like nobody knew what he was going to come out with because they just look shocked. Michael Hayes looked shocked on the stage with Austin. Vince McMahon is like losing his shit, it seems like, trying to just cut him off and just end the whole skit. It's constantly, all right, let's go on, let's move, and Austin just keeps talking.
That's why the ending of the end seems rushed, in my opinion. It seems like he's getting that out quick.
Yeah,
the punchline, obviously, which
right.
You all know what that is.
Right, so that's Austin 316, and that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. All that's coming out. These classic lines are being originated right there in front of us at that point, or even using the phrase "whoop your ass."
Yeah. This is where
And
we see that ECW Steve Austin.
Yeah.
This is like the
Right.
first, like, ooh, like full blown. He's going off the rails here.
Oh yeah, and I just wanted to bring up like these catchphrases that get created.
Yeah.
You know, Austin 316. That's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. Open up a can of whoop ass. All these types of phrases that Austin was able to come up with. These catchphrases are just kind of spur of the moment type of things that get created, and I think that's important that wrestlers are free to experiment. Because that's usually what leads to these great catchphrases, even today, modern wrestling. Rusev Day blew up, and that was just something random that Aiden English was singing, and then it ended up being this whole huge, great big thing with people wearing Rusev Day shirts everywhere. Now there's a Lana Day shirt, an Aiden Day shirt. So it just shows you that when these wrestlers are free to experiment, that's when you get these historic promos and catchphrases.
Yeah, historic moments. Just moments in general.
Right, that's how moments are created. They're supposed to be natural. Not everything should be written.
And looking back on the promo, one comment he makes, one piece of it, that I wish it would have picked up a little bit more traction was the cheap bottle of Thunderbird.
With a cheap
Comment.
bottle of Thunderbird.
Yeah, just pick up a cheap bottle of Thunderbird, I think he says, and kick back courage from your prime. Like,
Yeah.
how did cheap bottle of Thunderbird? Is that even? Do you know if that's real? Is that like a real?
I don't know.
What do you think it would be? I think it sounds like it'd be like a Jack Daniels or something.
Yeah, something
No.
like that. That's what I imagine it would be. I don't know much alcohol other than Captain Morgan.
Who needs Thunderbird T-shirts?
Thunderbird.
Bottle of Thunderbird.
All right, so enough talking about it. Let's have everybody listen to it. So we're going to bring you to the Austin 316 promo right now.
Is now the coronation begins. Let's take you up to Doc Hendricks. Doc, go ahead.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the fourth prestigious King of the Ring, Stone Cold Steve Austin, an incredible victory.
The first thing I want to be done is to get that piece of crap out of my ring.
Come on.
Don't just get him out of the ring, get him out of the WWF. Because I've proved, son, without a shadow of a doubt, you ain't got what it takes anymore. You sit there and you thump your Bible and you say your prayers, and it didn't get you anywhere. Talk about your Psalms, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says I just whipped your ass.
He is stone cold.
Come on, that's not necessary.
All he's got to do is go buy him a cheap bottle of Thunderbird
All right, stop
and
it.
try to dig back some of that courage he had in his prime. As the king of the ring, I'm serving notice to every one of the WWF superstars. I don't give a damn what they are. They're all on the list, and that's Stone Cold's list, and I'm fixing to start running through all of them.
All right, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And his remarks? 1996
As far
WWF
as
King
this
of the Ring.
championship match is considered, son, I don't give a damn if it's Davey Boy Smith or Shawn Michaels. Steve Austin's time has come. And when I get the shot, you're looking at the next WWF champion. And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so.
Obviously anything but humble. The fourth prestigious King of the Ring, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
All right, so there's the classic promo, Austin 316. That's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. All those great lines there. Just kind of, JV, you said it last week. Every time you hear it, it feels like the first time again.
Yeah, it does.
You know,
I had
when you said that
goosebumps.
last week, I was thinking like sex. It's always good. It's always like the first time.
I think that's where that quote comes from.
Where it
actually.
originates from. Yeah, but yeah, I always get pumped up when I hear that again.
Yeah, same here.
So
I heard it again today. I probably listened to it 5 times, at least 5 times since last week's episode, and every time it's just goosebumps. It's like, wow.
Like, so badass.
You just know.
Classic. So that's the first classic moment of Steve Austin's career. At this point, we're on this long journey, and that's the first.
Did you catch the point
thing.
in the promo when he mentions the list? How everyone's made his list? Now, is he technically
Love that.
list pre-Jericho and pre-Cody Rhodes list?
Oh, yeah.
Did he originate the list?
I think he did. He gets credit for it now.
It's his now. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Cody. Sorry, Chris.
Now, just one last thing before we wrap up here. That I had a question. I was wondering, at this point now, is the WWF audience ready to accept the heel character and as a babyface? So he's supposed to be a heel, but he's a babyface because the fans react to him that way. Do you think the audience is only ready for it because it's happening somewhere else, like in WCW, NWO, it's Scott Hall, Kevin Nash? They were heels, but they're going over as baby faces, and this is happening, just almost at the same exact time. Okay, Scott Hall went over to WCW in May. This is just June '96, and it's kind of correlating at the same time. Like Austin, at this point, he's not loved until he gives this speech. He's not getting great pop just yet, till this, and then we'll see it blow up even more over the summer of '96. But do you think it has anything to do with what's going on in WCW, JV?
Partially. I just think at that moment in time, I think wrestling community in general wanted that. I think they wanted like the anti-hero type, a hero that was more of a villain type.
Yeah, because for so long,
main guy. So
right throughout the '80s and the early '90s, kind of just getting force-fed these baby faces like Hulk Hogan, or even a Bret Hart.
Sting.
Who's just squeaky clean.
Yeah.
And people kind of getting sick of it, especially in that down year of '95. As I said earlier, it was a really shitty year for WWF. People wanted something different.
And I think Shawn Michaels was already kind of doing that, and fans were already attracted to that. Because even though he was playing a heel role, a lot of people really liked Shawn Michaels during that time. And same thing, I think, with Razor Ramon. He was like a bad guy originally. Fans started to like him, so I think they kind of, if I recall, that's when they kind of switched him babyface.
Yep.
And so I think the fans have always wanted it, and then I think Stone Cold's just the first guy where they like fully, he gets to take the reins. Yeah, like he gets the full embrace. Like, nope, we're going with it. You're going to stick with this. We're not going to flip flop you or anything. And
yeah, don't change your character at all. The fans are going to root for you no matter what. And
so I think fans were ready, and he was the best guy. So like when WWF at the time moved their chips all in, they were waiting for the right guy to make that move on, and I think they obviously picked the right guy. Not that anyone could have done it. Like, I'm not trying to say that at all. Not anyone could have done what Stone Cold did. Nobody could do what Stone Cold did. No. But it could have easily failed if they tried it with someone else, and Stone Cold was like the jackpot. Like,
right.
Like, wow, we did it. We hit the nail on the head.
Yep.
This is the guy. Perfect. This is our guy. He does it. He's just it. So.
All right, so I think that'll wrap it up for our Austin 316 episode. Next week, we're going to get into the rest of the summer, 1996. So we'll be covering July, which brings us to In Your House International Incident with his Marc Mero match, a rematch from this King of the Ring. And then we'll get into August, in which he does not appear at SummerSlam. So we'll just cover some of his appearances on Raw throughout August and leading into September. So that's next week, July, August of 1996, with In Your House wedged in between there. Okay, so next week, JV, any closing words on your side?
No, I don't have anything. Just, we're at the point now where we have our guy. We got our guy.
Yep.
I think there's the wrestling community in general then.
And we have our phrase now.
Yeah.
Austin 316.
And if
you got the bottom line.
Yeah. And if you're a WWF guy, you had your guy. It's like, all right, You know, like there's your horse. There's your horse in the race.
Oh yeah, and this would change WWF.
Yep.
And get them back into, back on top.
Yep.
It'll take a while, but
I can't wait.
This is really the beginning of it.
I can't wait to dig in deeper. I'm pumped. These
Oh,
next
yeah.
few episodes are going to be.
Oh, the next few. I'm looking forward to the heart of it all, like next year. And
Yeah. 97. 97 is like,
98.
yeah. Those 97, 98. Oof, we're getting there.
We'll get there, and things are heating up now. So join us next week. I'm Mike Pru. I'm on Twitter at MPRU83. JV, John Van Damage, right?
Yeah.
John Van Damage.
John Van Damage on Twitter and John_Van_Damage on Instagram.
All right, so please share. Please share on Twitter. Okay, we've gained a lot of followers over this past week.
We appreciate
Gained a lot
that.
of listeners. Yep, thank you guys, and just keep it going. Let's get a whole band of people to follow this wagon through Austin's career. All right, so thank you very much. We'll be back next week. Every Wednesday, episodes drop, guys. Every Wednesday. So we'll see you next Wednesday. Take care.